Hi there, Eric here. This is a quick series to talk about some of the more fuzzy and difficult questions to answer for online teaching and learning. In this series, giving you several hints and things to think about when thinking about engagement for your face-to-face online synchronous classes. A lot of us get online and start teaching, and we look at something like this. And actually, this is probably a good situation compared to a lot of the teachers because looks like about fourth of these windows are populated with on cameras. So you're getting that immediate feedback we have when we have, much like we have in face to face classes in classrooms. So a lot of you are looking at a blank screen, a bunch of names on a list, and you don't feel connected to your students, and you're not sure they're even engaged or even paying attention. So this is a quick list, a couple of things to discuss, a couple of tips about trying to engage with these students when you're lecturing in a synchronous situation. So in this one, I'm going to talk about communicating in multiple formats. Now, this is basically just a concept in allowing students different avenues, different ways, different approaches to raise their hand to contribute somehow into what's happening in your online class. Um, the more ways they're able to do it, the more ways, of course, it makes sense that they're going to contribute somehow in class. So I'm going to go through these four, hopefully as quick as possible. First one is chat. Most teleconferencing software, whether you're using Microsoft Teams or Zoom, etc., has a chat function. Use it often and early and encourage behaviors to feel free to use that chat as often as possible. In my personal classes, I encourage students to say good morning or afternoon or hello when they enter the teleconference, and I encourage them also to say goodbye or thank you when they leave. It's just simple, but it starts getting used to using the chat, checking the chat when they come in, etc., etc. Often stopping the lecture or whatever you're doing to check in with the chat from time to time, and letting students know that you're checking the chat is also important. Putting questions at the beginning of class for the chat and encouraging students to use the chat, not only for ask you questions, but to encourage them to discuss with each other, just so you can get some extra feedback about what's going on in the class. So the chat is really important. Another one is message boards. So there's a lot of tools for this out there, and this is a little more asynchronous, but it'll also give you an understanding of how students are perceiving the content in your courses. You can use something like a PHP BB chat or something, anything that houses an ongoing discussion. Google Groups is another one. You can use them during class, and then it extends throughout the week or whatever session timeline your classes are going on. So you can encourage or require discussions around a certain topic that you're talking in class. And you can then better assess and track student participation around the things that you're talking about in class, because it's connected to this kind of fixed and static message board, which is a little more static than the chat. Polling is another great one. You can use software for this, something like a Poll Anywhere or any polling function built into a lot of these teleconferencing chat functions. So like Line has its own polling system, or you can use a third-party website, or you can just simply use the chat again. I'd like everyone to agree that thinks A, type A. If I think who thinks B, type B. Just make it simple and easy for students to engage with you, as simple as possible. Try to come back to the polls if you give them out. You can even give something like in the beginning of class a poll. We're going to talk about this today at some time today while we're listening. Please give your opinion, and then come back to the poll and ask them why, etc., etc., through the chat, again, through message boards. Again, these are like different avenues. Being able to integrate them all is a little bit complicated, but the more you integrate, the more you'll find something's bubbling up through your students. Next one is quizzes. Depending on what platform you're using, Microsoft Teams, for example, has its own. If you can add plugins and such to have your own quizzes. You can use something like a Quizlet or any online if you're on a Moodle platform to integrate quizzes into it. I use something called Kahoot, which is kind of an online live system for quizzing. But the students are going to want some feedback to their quizzes, and fast feedback is often best. So if they feel like if they quiz and they get feedback immediately, they're going to then feel encouraged to engage uh, faster and with more enthusiasm. So those are four kind of ideas around communicating in multiple formats, and that's one of the concepts that I think that can help us start to understand how well we're engaging with our students. I got some more ideas about this very same topic. Look to other videos for that coming up. Bye for now.